I never thought my own mother would ask me to cancel the happiest day of my life. My hands were shaking as I held the phone, tears streaming down my face. "Mom, I can't believe you're asking me to do this. This is my wedding." "You know your sister has always dreamed of this venue," she replied coldly. "Can't you just postpone? She's heartbroken after the breakup, and seeing you happy is killing her." The words felt like daggers. After years of being second best, I'd finally found someone who put me first. And now my family wanted to take even that away. I hung up and turned to my fiancé, his concerned eyes meeting mine. "They want me to cancel our wedding because my sister got dumped, and now she's upset seeing me happy." His jaw dropped. "What are you going to do?" In that moment, something inside me broke, and something stronger formed in its place. I just uninvited my entire family. And what happened next? No one saw it coming. If this story resonates with you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, this family drama gets so much worse, and you won't want to miss what happens next. Growing up, I was always Emma's little sister. Emma was the golden child, beautiful, talented, and my mother's pride and joy. While Emma got private dance lessons and new clothes, I learned to be grateful for hand-me-downs and attention scraps. My mother would beam during Emma's recitals, then check her phone during my school plays. "Why can't you be more like your sister?" became the soundtrack of my childhood. Emma was homecoming queen, valedictorian, and got a full scholarship to her dream university. I worked just as hard, but my achievements were always met with, "That's nice, honey. Did you hear Emma made the dean's list again?" Dad wasn't much better. He'd smile weakly whenever Mom sidelined me, his silent compliance making him equally culpable. "That's just how your mother is," he'd say privately. "Don't take it personally." But how could I not? Every birthday, every holiday, every family gathering, Emma shined while I faded into the background. By adulthood, I'd accepted my role as the family afterthought. I pursued photography, something that was entirely mine, and built a modest career capturing other people's special moments while never expecting to be at the center of one. Then I met Daniel. We bumped into each other at a coffee shop, literally. His latte ended up all over my portfolio, and he insisted on paying for professional cleaning. What started as an apologetic coffee date turned into dinner, then weekend hikes, then love. Daniel looked at me like I was his entire world. "I've never met anyone who sees things the way you do," he told me on our third date. "You notice beauty in places most people overlook." For the first time, someone was choosing me first. Daniel listened when I spoke. He remembered my favorite things. He proudly showed off my photographs to his friends. When I told him about my family, he seemed genuinely confused. "They don't see how incredible you are," he said, holding my face in his hands. "That's their loss." After a year together, Daniel proposed during a sunrise hike with a vintage camera-shaped locket containing a diamond ring. It was perfect, thoughtful, personal, and completely ours. When I called my parents with the news, my mother's first response was, "Oh, well, that's unexpected. Have you told Emma?" At our engagement dinner, Emma seemed happy enough, hugging me tightly. "I'm so glad you found someone," she whispered. Mom spent most of the evening talking about Emma's high-profile marketing job and her perfect boyfriend, Ryan. We started planning our wedding, a small, intimate ceremony at Hillcrest Gardens, a place I'd photographed many times and always dreamed of having as my own venue. For once, I felt special. What I didn't know was that Emma and Ryan had broken up just 2 weeks before our engagement announcement. As I eagerly shared wedding details, I didn't notice my sister's smiles growing tighter or my mother's glances between us growing longer. Looking back, I should have seen the storm coming, but I was too busy finally feeling like the main character in my own life. The wedding planning began with such joy. Daniel and I created Pinterest boards, toured venues, and sampled cakes. When we officially booked Hillcrest Gardens for June 15th, I felt like pinching myself. The date was perfect. Wildflowers would be in bloom, creating the dreamy backdrop I'd always envisioned. My first hint that something was off came during a family dinner. I excitedly shared our venue photos, and Emma went completely silent, pushing food around her plate. "Isn't it beautiful?" I asked her directly. "Yeah," she mumbled. "Ryan and I looked at that place too." Mom immediately jumped in. Emma and Ryan had their hearts set on a June wedding at Hillcrest. "Remember, Emma? You've talked about it since you were 16. I felt a familiar tightness in my chest. I didn't know." "It's fine," Emma said, her voice tight. "It's not like we're even together anymore." That was when I learned about their breakup. Emma burst into tears and fled to the bathroom. Mom gave me a look that screamed, "Now look what you've done!" The incident should have been isolated, but similar moments kept happening. When I invited Emma to come dress shopping, she agreed enthusiastically. But at the boutique, each time I emerged from the dressing room, her eyes would well up. "Sorry," she'd say, dabbing her eyes. "You look beautiful. I'm just emotional." Mom pulled me aside while Emma was in the restroom. "Maybe we should do this another day. She's fragile right now. But I've booked appointments at 3 shops today. Can't you be sensitive to what she's going through?" I rescheduled, swallowing my disappointment. When I selected my bridesmaids, my 3 closest friends, Mom called immediately. "Emma is devastated. She assumed she'd be your maid of honor." "We've never been that close, Mom. She never even invites me to her events." "She's your sister. Family comes first." To keep the peace, I asked Emma to be a bridesmaid. Her response? "I thought I'd be your maid of honor, but whatever." Daniel noticed the pattern during our menu tasting when Mom insisted we include Emma's favorite foods, despite her seafood allergy. "Your mom always sides with Emma," he observed on the drive home. "Does she realize how she makes you feel?" "It's always been this way," I said. "But this is our wedding. It'll be fine." Then came the wedding shower. My future mother-in-law planned everything perfectly, but Mom spent the entire event consoling Emma in the corner. When gift opening began, Emma suddenly announced she wasn't feeling well and needed to leave. "I should take her home," Mom said, gathering her purse. "But we haven't opened your gift yet," I said. "We'll do it another time, sweetie. Emma needs me now." As they left, I caught Emma's reflection in the mirror. She wasn't crying anymore. She was watching me, her expression unreadable. "Something doesn't feel right," Daniel whispered. I nodded, pushing down the familiar feeling of being second best. "It's nothing. Let's enjoy our day." The betrayal came 3 weeks before our wedding day. Mom had organized a final family dinner before the big day at their house. The tension was palpable as we arrived, with Emma looking unusually composed while Mom hovered around her. Dinner was uncomfortable. Dad focused on his plate while Mom steered every conversation back to Emma, her job promotion, her new apartment, how well she was handling everything. Daniel squeezed my hand under the table each time my contributions to conversations were overlooked. As dessert was served, Mom clinked her glass. "We need to discuss something important." My stomach dropped. "Emma has been going through so much," Mom began. "And with everything happening so fast with the wedding..." Emma dramatically dabbed her eyes with a napkin. "What Mom's trying to say," Emma interrupted, voice quivering, "is that seeing you plan your wedding at Hillcrest, the venue Ryan and I always talked about, it's just too painful." I set down my fork. "I'm sorry you're hurting, but..." "We think it would be best," Mom cut in, "if you considered postponing your wedding, just until Emma has had time to heal." The room went silent. Daniel tensed beside me. "Postpone our wedding? You can't be serious," I whispered. "It's just a few months," Mom insisted. "You have your whole lives together. Emma needs this time to recover without being reminded of what she's lost." I looked at Dad, silently pleading for support. He examined his coffee cup. "Your mother thinks it's for the best." "This is insane," Daniel said. "We've paid deposits, sent invitations. People are flying in. Family comes first, Mom replied coldly. If you loved your sister, you'd understand. And if you loved me, I countered, voice breaking, you'd understand this is the most important day of my life. Emma burst into tears. See? She doesn't care how much I'm hurting. We left abruptly. That night, I could barely sleep. The next morning, Mom called while Daniel was in the shower. Have you thought about what we discussed? Mom, I can't believe you're asking me to do this. This is my wedding. You know your sister has always dreamed of this venue. She replied coldly. Can't you just postpone? She's heartbroken. Something inside me broke. 28 years of being second best crystallized into perfect clarity. No, I said finally. I won't postpone my wedding for Emma. Not this time. Then you're being selfish, Mom snapped. If this is how little you care about your sister's feelings, maybe we shouldn't come to the wedding at all. I took a deep breath. Maybe you shouldn't. The silence that followed was deafening. You don't mean that, she finally said. I do. You've chosen Emma over me my entire life. This time, I'm choosing myself. The phone slipped from my fingers as I ended the call. Daniel found me on the floor, knees pulled to my chest. I just uninvited my family to our wedding, I whispered. He sat beside me, arm around my shoulders. Tell me everything. I recounted the conversation with Mom, each word making it more real. When I finished, I expected him to suggest I reconsider. Instead, he held me tighter. I'm proud of you, he said. It's about time someone told them no. But what about our wedding? Half the guest list is my family. Daniel took my hands. This day is about us, not them. If they can't celebrate that, we'll celebrate with people who genuinely want us to be happy. That night, I drafted an email to my extended family explaining my decision. I didn't vilify my mother or Emma, but simply stated that due to family circumstances, my parents and sister would not be attending, and I hoped others would still join us. The backlash was immediate. My phone exploded with notifications. Aunts insisting I apologize, uncles calling me disrespectful, cousins demanding explanations. My maternal grandmother, always Mom's staunchest ally, left a scathing voicemail about dishonoring family. Dad called once, his voice weary. Can't you just give your mother what she wants? It's easier for everyone. Easier for everyone except me, Dad. Always except me. The silence that followed told me everything I needed to know about where he stood. Emma sent several texts, alternating between guilt trips. How could you hurt Mom like this? And faux sympathy. I never meant for this to happen. I blocked her number after the 5th message, but amid the family chaos came unexpected support. My college roommate Jess immediately offered to help reorganize the seating chart. My colleagues at the photography studio volunteered to handle wedding photos so I could fully enjoy the day. Daniel's family was extraordinary. His mother called daily, not to pressure me, but just to check in. His sister insisted on helping with the final dress fitting since my mother wouldn't be there. Family isn't always blood, she told me. Sometimes it's who shows up. The hardest part was walking past the empty Family of the Bride section while finalizing details with the venue coordinator. When she asked if we wanted to reduce our package given the lower head count, I nearly broke down. No, Daniel answered for me. We're not changing a thing. This is our day, exactly as we planned it. Some nights I cried myself to sleep, mourning the family I wished I had rather than the one I'd been given. Other days, anger fueled me forward. Gradually, determination replaced both emotions. 2 weeks before the wedding, I placed my parents' invitation in a memory box along with childhood photos and mementos. I'm not giving up my happiness for their approval ever again, I told Daniel as I closed the lid. That's my girl, he smiled, kissing my forehead. Now, let's go get married. 3 days before the wedding, my phone lit up with an unknown number. I almost ignored it, assuming it was another relative trying to guilt me, but something made me answer. "Hello?" "It's me," Emma said, her voice small. "Please don't hang up." I remained silent, clutching the phone. "I'm not calling to fight," she continued. "Can we meet? Just us. I need to tell you something in person." Every instinct told me to refuse, but curiosity won out. The coffee shop on Maple, 1 hour. Emma was already there when I arrived, fidgeting with a worn envelope. She looked smaller somehow, without Mom's shadow behind her. "Thanks for coming," she said. "I wouldn't blame you if you hated me." "I don't hate you, Emma. I just don't understand why my wedding became about you." She slid the envelope across the table. "Open it." Inside were photos, old ones of us as children, and newer ones I'd never seen. Pictures of Emma looking uncomfortable as Mom arranged her pose. Screenshots of texts between them. "Mom promised me Hillcrest Gardens years ago," Emma explained, voice trembling. "Not because I wanted it, but because she decided it was our family venue. When Ryan and I were serious, she put down a deposit without telling us, for next June." I blinked. "But you broke up." "Exactly. When you announced your engagement, she panicked. The deposit was non-refundable, and she'd told everyone about Emma's perfect Hillcrest wedding. She couldn't bear losing face. So she tried to make me postpone until she could find you another groom?" My voice rose incredulously. Emma nodded, tears streaming. "I never asked her to do this. When you announced your venue, she told me I had to act heartbroken. Said we needed to remind you of family loyalty." I stared at a particularly telling photo, Emma at her high school graduation, Mom physically positioning her smile toward the camera. "She's been doing this our whole lives," Emma whispered, "pitting us against each other. I was never allowed to cheer for you because it might diminish my spotlight. And you resented me because she made you feel second best. Why tell me now?" "Because yesterday she said something that finally opened my eyes. She said, 'Once we get her to change venues, you'll need to get engaged within 6 months to keep the deposit.' She already has a list of suitable men for me." Emma's hands shook. "I'm not a daughter to her. I'm a project." The realization crashed over me. We hadn't been sisters for years. We'd been competitors in a game we never agreed to play. "I'm so sorry," Emma said. "I should have seen it sooner. I should have stood up for you." For the first time in years, I saw my sister. Really saw her. Not Mom's golden child, but another casualty in our mother's need for control. "What happens now?" I asked. Emma wiped her tears. "That depends. Is it too late for us?" The next morning, I called Emma again. "I have an idea. It's risky, but if you're serious about making things right..." We met in secret twice before the wedding, finalizing our plan. I told no one, not even Daniel. I needed his reaction to be genuine. The wedding day arrived, sunny and perfect. Hillcrest Gardens looked magical, wildflowers painting the landscape in vibrant colors. As I prepared in the bridal suite, surrounded by friends instead of family, I felt strangely calm. "You okay?" Jess asked, adjusting my veil. "Better than okay," I replied. "For once, I'm choosing my own happiness." The ceremony began exactly as planned. Daniel waited at the altar, his smile brighter than the sun when he saw me. The celebrant welcomed everyone, and just as she began the opening remarks, there was a commotion at the back of the garden. Emma appeared, wearing a simple blue dress, looking nervous but determined. A collective gasp rippled through the guests. Daniel's eyes widened in surprise as Emma walked to the front. "I'm sorry to interrupt," she announced, "but I need to say something before my sister gets married." The celebrant glanced at me uncertainly. I nodded. "My sister and I grew up in a home where love was conditional," Emma began, her voice strengthening with each word. "Where I was pushed into the spotlight while she was pushed aside. Today, I'm here to tell her, and all of you, that she deserves every bit of happiness this day brings." Tears blurred my vision as Emma continued. She is the strongest, most forgiving person I know, and I am honored to stand beside her, if she'll still have me. Before I could respond, another commotion erupted. Mom and Dad appeared, Mom's face contorted with anger. "What is the meaning of this?" she demanded, marching down the aisle. "Emma, we agreed you wouldn't come." "No, Mom, you decided. I'm done letting you decide for me." Mom turned to me. "You turned your sister against me? After everything I've done for you?" Something inside me straightened. No more shrinking, no more appeasing. "You've done nothing for me except make me feel unworthy my entire life," I said clearly. "Today is about love, not control. You can stay and celebrate with us, or you can leave. But this wedding is happening, and Emma is welcome here." Dad looked between us, confusion giving way to realization. "She's right, Barbara," he said quietly. "We should either support her or go." Mom's face flushed. "You too? Fine. Have your wedding. But don't expect—" "We don't," I interrupted. "We don't expect anything from you anymore." I turned to Emma, extending my hand. "Will you be my bridesmaid? Right now?" She nodded through tears as Daniel's sister quickly handed her a bouquet. For once, all eyes were on me for the right reasons, and it felt magnificent. Our wedding proceeded beautifully after that moment. Mom and Dad left quietly, but their absence felt like freedom rather than loss. Emma stood beside me as Daniel and I exchanged vows, her smile genuine for perhaps the first time in our adult lives. "You may now kiss the bride," the celebrant announced, and as Daniel's lips met mine, applause erupted around us. In that perfect moment, I realized I'd gained far more than I'd lost. The reception was magical, filled with laughter, dancing, and genuine joy. Daniel's family surrounded me with warmth, his mother pulling me into a tight embrace. "You're one of us now," she whispered, "completely and forever." Emma stayed close throughout the night, introducing herself to Daniel's relatives and my friends with a humility I'd never seen before. During a quiet moment, she confessed, "I'm starting therapy next week. I need to figure out who I am without Mom's influence." "I'm proud of you," I told her, meaning it entirely. 2 weeks after our honeymoon, Emma invited us to dinner at her apartment. To my surprise, Dad was there too. "Your mother and I are taking some time apart," he explained, looking simultaneously lost and relieved. "What happened at your wedding? It forced me to see things I've been ignoring for decades." Over the following months, new family patterns emerged. Sunday brunches with Emma became a regular tradition. Dad joined sometimes, slowly finding his voice without Mom's domineering presence. He apologized one afternoon over coffee, eyes watering. "I failed you as a father," he admitted. "I chose peace over protecting you." "You get to choose differently now," I told him. Mom remained distant, sending occasional texts that alternated between guilt trips and tentative olive branches. I responded with kind but firm boundaries. Some wounds would take years to heal, if they ever did. 1 month after our wedding anniversary, Daniel and I hosted a dinner party. Looking around our table, filled with chosen family and blood relatives who'd earned their place, I felt a profound sense of peace. Later that night, as we looked through our wedding album, Daniel pointed to a photo of Emma and me laughing together during the reception. "This is my favorite," he said. "It looks like the beginning of something, not just an ending." He was right. By standing up for myself, I hadn't just saved my wedding. I'd reclaimed my worth and helped Emma begin to find hers. Sometimes family is defined by blood, but more often, it's defined by who stays when you finally decide to live on your own terms. The people who love you for who you are, not for who they want you to be. I closed the album, leaning into my husband's embrace. Sometimes you have to lose what you thought was family to find what family truly means.